What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm your host, the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I have a very amazing guest, and she's making her return to the show. Savannah Summers, the current RCW Women's Champion and longest reigning Women's Champion, mind you, that I actually found out earlier today. I looked that up. So I'm excited to have Savannah back on. Our first conversation was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to have it back on for the longest time. So I'm glad we can finally make this happen again. But before we get into it, I just want to take a quick second to thank one of our amazing sponsors, and that is healthvape.com. Now, Health Vape is your healthy vaping alternative. All of their products are no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals. They help restore your energy while giving you the vital boost you need to get through your day. So go and check out their vape and pod products. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Also, wherever you are finding us, I appreciate you for tuning in. If you could please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified, leave us a comment. I appreciate it. It helps us with our analytics. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. I'd appreciate that also because it helps us reach a broader audience and have more amazing conversations for more amazing people listening like yourselves. Woo! But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone, please, let's get a warm round of applause going for my guest at this time. Well, Savannah Summers. Let's get into it. Savannah Summers, welcome back to Shooting the Shit.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you back. It's a pleasure. It's it's a lot. It's been over a year since you were on last time.
Oh wow,
for the first time. So I know. It feels like it wasn't that long at all. But a lot has happened in the last 12 months. The world has opened back up.
Yes.
You've been traveling for wrestling as well.
Yes, that's been nice.
Yeah, and you've also got a bit of a rock on that finger we just saw as well.
I got engaged. Crazy times.
Hey, best times. Hey, congratulations to you and your fiance for
Thank you.
Finally wanting to be miserable like the rest of it. No, I'm kidding.
I was single for a long time, so it was about time I found a good man and tied him down.
well done, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
And also, with your wrestling as well, you've been to Sydney a couple of times as well since then in the last 12 months, wrestling for FWA. Riot City Wrestling, just is kicking goals all over the place. What the shows that you guys are putting on is just absolutely phenomenal as well.
Yeah, they've been amazing. We've been lucky to be able to get back into it and have some big shows and big ones coming up. It's been great.
And as far as yourself now, are you thinking that there will be opportunities for you to go internationally, or are you just thinking, hey, I'm going to stay locally, within Australia?
I think I've already done a lot of international stuff, so I'm not really too fussed about doing more. If the opportunity comes up, then absolutely I'd jump on it like all the other ones. But I'm not focused on that. I think especially with getting engaged, my money needs to go elsewhere now. So international stuff is as great as it is. I'm lucky that I did it when I did it, I think, and now I can put my focuses on some other things here in Australia.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you were talking about the wedding and the engagement and everything like that. Have you had put much thought into what kind of wedding you're going to have? Is it going to be like something big and elaborate or small?
I'm sure it'll be big and elaborate when it does finally happen. I think he's from Tumby Bay, so he's more of an outback sort of guy. But I'm a like to consider myself a little bit of a classy gal, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. But I've always wanted like a wood sort of wedding, so I think he would be happy with something like that. So we will bring the two together and we'll make it work, I'm sure.
So we're not going to see a wrestling wedding at like a
Oh,
right.
no. No. He said, do you want me to propose in the ring? And I was like, if you propose in the ring, I'm going to say no.
Oh, that would be
no way. I didn't want any of that. No thanks.
No macho Miss Elizabeth for you guys.
I said, as long as we can have a proper wedding as well, then I would, consider it. But not the only wedding or the only engagement. Definitely not.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it'd be funny because it's like if you had like family and friends that hadn't seen you at a wrestling show, it'd be like this would be the perfect example, but they just had to pay $100 to get it.
No, oh my gosh, that'd be so bad. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it to my friends and family, let alone myself. So no. bit classier than that, I think.
Oh, come on now. But as well with with wrestling, Riot City Wrestling, women's champion and the longest reigning in history. I found out today. I was looking at that statistic and I was quite surprised. Not quite surprised because you're a phenomenal performer, but like, for such a long reign, where I think now like you do start to see longer title reigns, but for the longest time we've seen like titles, being held for not longer than 6 months.
Yeah, we had a few smaller reigns here and there, but I think after Mickey had it through the pandemic, I think we all thought no one's ever going to beat that. It's never going to happen because she got had all this time when she got injured, and then we went into the pandemic, so there was all this time off, and so she held it for over 500 days, and I think we all thought no one's going to ever beat that. That's it. But then I came along. No, and I think I've just been very lucky that that I would, in a sense, like things are opening up a bit more now, where the women are sort of wrestling the men a bit more, and so a lot of our women are wrestling with the men, and like we got Delta in the tag division, and so no one really wants to come after my belt, and so I'm okay with that, and I'm just sitting back, sipping my wine, holding my belt, and enjoying life. So I think that's sort of what's happened and how I've ended up with it for so long, and that I'm amazing and I beat everyone that comes along, obviously.
That's the thing, like, you mentioned like now there's a lot more, intergender wrestling and women wrestling men and vice versa. Do you feel like that women's championships from probably like an independent wrestling level will soon be obsolete in a certain sense because there's so much, like they're trying to sort of break that wall down from women's wrestling and just having wrestling? Do you think that the women's titles will be sort of gone to a wayside?
I kind of do, and I'm very sad about it because I love women's wrestling and I love beating up women, and so I think that's why I've been lucky enough to like hold on to the belt. And we still get the girls in here and there, and we still have a few others, new girls coming through, but I do feel like it is going more that way, and a lot of companies are probably looking to get rid of their women's belts and just having like the lesser belt, and the women can go for that, or the main belt, like really any of them, but just having another belt that everyone can kind of go for. But I mean, I'm all for keeping the women's belts, like keep the women's belts and have both, just have the mixed stuff and have the women's division, because the women's wrestling, woo. I'm a
Yeah,
big supporter.
yeah. Look, I am as well, and like I enjoy women's wrestling as well. Like,
Yeah,
and I mean like something like a Mickey James, you know, type of a match. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah,
not talking like Sable back in 1998, but you know, what I mean, I'm talking like a good women's match with two
yeah,
amazing performers, and a women's
yeah.
title. I think from a nostalgia feel is kind of like I wouldn't want to see them go to a wayside because I feel
Yeah.
like the nostalgic wrestling fans, I don't know, like they
That's why
appreciate.
I think, because I'm a bit older, probably. That's it's just what I love. Like, I'm all about like everyone just doing what makes them happy, and wrestling whoever they want that makes them happy, or works for the show, or works for the card, or the promoter, or whoever. But just personally, I love wrestling women, and I love watching women's wrestling, and I love everything about it. So I want to keep it alive, and if that means that I'm going to keep the women's division going in Riot City, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm all about it. So I don't mind. And I'll wrestle the boys here and there. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
you don't mind mixing it up, but
Nah, that's it.
how did you? Because you wrestled on the last FWA show.
Yes.
I was at as well, and you were actually tagging with that was your partner, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Was
Yes.
that the first time you guys tagged together, or have you guys sort of?
Yes, it was a bit of a story behind it. So look, Fivey ended up needing someone to drive the truck, and so my partner has a truck license, so he ended up like getting booked on the show to drive this truck, and I kind of made a joke about us tagging together, and I feel like with Fivey, then it's going to happen. So, but I was okay with that. It was a lot of fun. I got to dress up like him, and I thought we'll do the outback sort of gimmick, and we'll make it work. And it was a lot of fun. I got my own hat. I had to get a proper hat, by the way, because he's very into all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you know anything about hats, but proper cowboy hats, they're expensive. And he was like, if you're going to be coming out dressed like this, you have to have a proper hat. So I had to spend a bit of money, and I had to get a proper hat for one show, and go out there in the full get up, the Daisy Dukes and that. But it was a lot of fun. What was a lot of fun was that 30 seconds before we went out, Fivey ran up to us and he said, I'm just letting you know I can't get your music to work, so you're going out to Savannah's music. And Down Under was not impressed with that. Coming out to Britney Spears was not part of the Down Under gimmick
experience?
package. No, I was clearly dressed like him. We were meant to come out as, the outpack, back like whatever, all the outpack, stuff. But it was a bit of fun. It was a funny thing to look back on, definitely. No, it's okay, Bobby. It's good. It's a funny story to tell. I love
Five in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
it. He wasn't impressed though, coming out to Britney Spears. I had a lot of fun with it, but it's okay.
To be honest, I actually popped for it because I was like, this is too much.
It didn't really suit, but hey, these things happen, and you just need to power through. But it was a lot of fun getting to team with him for sure. Hopefully we'll get to do it again in the future. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's the thing. I think in wrestling, you just got to roll with it and make it work.
Exactly.
And I think he came out and did his entrance like it was fine, but also as well, like it was a pretty big show for FWA. As well, big sold out crowd, internationals on the card.
And I think Fight TV did really well as also. So no, it was a really good show. It was.
Yeah, I mean, we also had like a few Australian veterans as well there. Dazzler Dunlop doing commentary with us for the show, and
Yes.
also Frankie Valentine, who was a regular in the New South Wales wrestling scene in the early 2000s, was in attendance.
A while ago.
Yeah. So I think we saw quite a few people popping their head into that show. So it was good to see. It was good to see Australian wrestling.
It was a fun show. It was a solid card for sure.
But for yourself, what are you looking forward to the most? Coming into the back end of this year, Is there any big shows that you've got coming up that you're looking forward to?
The only ones really that I've got like planned at the moment, we've got we're doing a Tumby Bay tour that my partner has sorted out with Riot City. So we're going to Cummins and then we're doing Tumby Bay. So it's going to be like a big trip. We're going on a bus. So Riot City guys are probably going to get a bit crazy. It's going to be interesting, but I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's always fun to do sort of those little tours with a group of people like in wrestling that you know and you see all the time, you get along with. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the very following weekend, I think we have the double header for Riot City. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I know Amber from Purgatory. She's definitely iron up my belt. Wants to break my longest reign. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
You mentioned the country shows as well. Like, how do the fans go? Like at the country shows, do they really get into it?
Yeah, they do, because they don't get much, like that come through. They don't get a lot of different just shows in general, I think. And so you usually find that like everyone comes out for it and you end up with big numbers because they'll come from all the little towns around. And then they, even people that aren't into wrestling, they'll come because it's something different, gets them out of the house, exciting stuff, and then they get really into it. And I'm not saying like putting judgments on anyone, but they like to have a drink usually, the country people, and so they get a bit rowdy, but they get into it, and it just makes it fun for everyone, really.
I actually did a show down at the South Coast for AWE a couple of months back, and it was the same sort of thing. Like we went there and it was like a big venue, and we're like, oh wow, and they were like, yeah, it's sold out. And we're like, oh really? And like sold out. That's like 600 people in here. Like really? And they're like, yeah. And no joke, the place was absolutely packed, and it was like everyone was just lining up at the end of the show to meet everyone who was on the show. And it was a massive turnout. And it's like, man, if only we got every single show, these sort of like crowds would be great.
Right? Yeah, I know. That's, I think, what it's going to be looking like for the Tumby show for sure. I think the Cummins is more of like a what is it? Exhibition sort of show where we do a few little shows throughout the day. It's not like a proper full-on show, but then the next day is Tumby, and that's like just a proper show, with 7-8 matches or whatever. And I think we're already looking at, it's probably going to be about 600, like you said. It's going to be big, so it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun for sure.
And those crowds are usually the best. And but those crowds are usually the best ones, like, because you get the best reactions from them because they're so appreciative of what they're seeing.
Yeah. And a lot of them have never seen it before, so they just loving it. So it's good. It'll be a lot of fun, I know.
Yeah, it's like seeing kids when they see a wrestling ring in person for the first time, and you can sort of see it in their eyes. Like, like I took my eldest to a show that I was on, and he was just like looking at the ring, and he's like, "Can I touch it?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Can I touch?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, go." He's like, "Can I get in it?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't think so." And he's like, "Okay."
That's cute. That's how you hook them, though. That's how, when you see it when you're young, that's how you get hooked. You fall in love with it because you're just amazed by it. So hopefully we hook a bunch of the kids, and then they'll want to like keep, maybe look at doing it down the line sometime. That's always a goal.
But as far as the academy for Riot City Wrestling going, like, do you guys get consistently new people coming through there each and every week, or are you guys holding like regular tries and say, hey, look, we do a tryout once every 3 months?
Yeah.
What's the process for you guys?
Yeah, we do tryouts about every 3 or 4 months, and we usually get about 20 or 30 people rock up, which is really good. But then from that, you definitely only get like, maybe you get 20 that show up for the tryout, and then you get 15 maybe that come down and sort of give it a go after that. And then they all kind of slowly drop off. And then by the end of each tryout, you're probably only left with a handful of people that actually stick around. Sometimes less, sometimes more, but usually about a handful that actually stick with it, that are really determined to do it and stick it out and stick around and end up on shows. So
Can you see, like, obviously being a veteran of many years in the business, can you see people? Hey, that's a compliment. That's
oh no, I don't like to say that I'm a vet. I'm still learning all the time. So yeah, but thank you. I'm old.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, I don't necessarily consider myself fat, but yeah, thank you.
Like, when you see tryouts and people coming in and rookies and stuff like that, can you see someone at a tryout and go, this person's going to get it straight away? This person,
oh yeah,
be on
definitely.
Straight away.
Definitely. You always get the few, usually people that are athletes that are into some sort of sport or have played sport most of their life, and they pick it up really quickly and they're really into it. And then sometimes it's just a confidence that they have, just a confidence about them, and they go in there and they just get it. They pick up things really like easily, and just all the little things, and you just know they're going to be good if they stick with it. They're going to be good. They'll make it to shows and they'll make a go of things. But then there's some as well that you just see that maybe don't get it quite as much, but you can see that they're really determined. Like, it's a passion and it's what they want to do, and they will just keep grinding until they make it, like, to a show and get better, and that's always nice to see as well. And then you see others that you think, oh, just stop because you're going to hurt yourself.
But those people that are stopped, no, you're going to hurt yourself. Are they the ones, like, with the most confidence, just going in there going, yeah,
sometimes
yeah, I just did a killer workout.
Yeah, definitely sometimes. And you're just like, why? What's going through your head that makes you think you're going to be so amazing? Like, you can't even do a forward roll. But like, sometimes they get it. Sometimes over time they do pick it up. But then, yeah, you definitely get some that come in with absolutely no, athletic experience, no sporting history whatsoever, just thinking that it's wrestling and it's not real. So they're just going to jump in it and pick it up, no problems, and be a superstar. And I think they soon realize that that's not the way it goes, Unfortunately, you need a bit of both. You need the athleticism and you need the charisma and and the look and all of it if you're going to be a big superstar. And not many people have that, unfortunately.
But even then, like, in all aspects of it, like, I think people look at wrestling, I could get in there and do a promo. I could talk on the mic. Okay, go for
it. Yeah. And then they just freeze.
Yeah, but you know what? You may have someone who might do it, but then, like, then obviously knowing how to sort of do a promo and how long to go for, and then not have someone just
hit all those points. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's not as easy as it looks.
Oh no, 100%. But I kind of put, like, it in the same, like, category as, like, boxing and everything and combat sports, because people go boxing. Oh yeah, it's just there's no technique in it. There's a lot of technique in boxing, footwork, head movement. Same with wrestling. There's so much different techniques. Like, they're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely. And there's always things to learn, because if you just learn under one person, you're really just learning what they know, and you need to spread yourself out and learn what everybody knows, because everyone knows different stuff and you want to learn it all. If you want to be good, you got to learn everything. And there's just too much to even comprehend. Like, it's crazy.
Have you ever had like a moment, like, in your wrestling career where, you say, for example, you've been wrestling for many years, and then, like, someone's given you a bit of advice or said, hey, try doing this instead of this, and you've just gone, holy shit, how did I not see that?
I'm blown. I'm sure I have. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there's been a lot where, or I think a lot of the time for me, I watch and I go, oh, I should try doing something like that. And then I will go and, like, kind of do it by myself, or get someone to run through it with me. I'm not a big, like, someone like pull someone aside and be like, show me how you do that. I don't know, I'm probably a bit more reserved like that. I'll watch, or I'll even stuff, or like you watch like when I'm watching wrestling on TV, and watch it and be like, oh, I want to learn how to do it that way, or transition like he did, or move a certain way. And so I'll go and like practice that over and over, to just because everyone's got a different style, and when you notice tiny things that can make you stand out just in little ways, I like that. I don't want to be the same as everyone else necessarily. So it's fun to just get little things like that and tweak them. And I like, that's probably what I do more.
All right. So like, what's been like the most ridiculous thing that you've gone, you know what, I'm going to try that, and then you're regretting it the instant you've tried it?
Like doing like ridiculous moves. I remember trying a 450, and I remember like I made it around, but sort of on my feet first, and like my knee kind of went straight away. I'm like, whoa, okay, I don't need to do that move. Like, that's ridiculous. But I wanted to see if I could. So I know that I can, but I'm not going to because it's not smart.
Fair. Yeah. Well, that, you know what? I see people do 450s. I'm just like, even if I had athletic ability, like, I'm like, how would I even attempt to go,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm at least going to try that? I'd be like, nah.
Yeah. I mean, I tried it with the big blue mat, but I made it, but still I was like, yeah, cool. I don't need to do that. I'm not going to do that on a show. It's not going to happen. So I'm not going to keep doing it at training and hurt myself for no reason. We'll just put that one. I know I can do it. Well, I've done it, but I'm not doing it.
I've done it, but I'm not doing it. You're not
I'm
going to
not
see
going
it
to
on
do
a
it.
show.
Yeah. I think I have a lot of moves like that where I've done them and I know I can do them, but then I go, but I'm not going to do that on a show. And you know what? I think a lot of the time it is because I like to wrestle women, and nothing against wrestling women because I love wrestling women, but a lot of the time they can't do as much. Like, you can't do as much with them as you can with a lot of men because they're a lot stronger and they're like a good base. Whereas like women, just, you never know who you're going to be wrestling and if they are going to be strong or not to do certain stuff. So like, I don't want to just risk it by going out there with someone that I've just met from interstate and I really don't know, their strengths like wise, and then get hurt doing some crazy move that I'm like, but I want to do this move all the time. So I just don't do a lot of crazy stuff, and I'm getting older, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth injuries. It's not worth any of that. You can entertain people by doing very basic, simple stuff. You don't need to go crazy all the time. I mean, you can sometimes save it for good matches, good storylines, blow off matches, but not just, your throwaway, like, nothing match. It's just not worth possible injuries or, injuring someone else or anything like that.
But I think that's, as well, the experience as well, talking, knowing that you don't have to go out and kill yourself in a match, and you can, working to your audience, I think is a main thing as well. Like, if you've got kids in the show, you're not exactly going to go out and do like stiff chair shots and start gigging all over. You know what I mean? Like, it's you're not going to do that. And I think, like, you look at someone like John Cena, people go, oh, he can't wrestle. Like, yeah, he can. Like, he's had like some great matches.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, his shit is simple because that's all it needs to be. Same with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, big boot, leg drop, 1, 2, 3, do the year, brother, let's go home. Like,
and if you want longevity, you're better off to do that. Otherwise, your body's just going to start falling apart on you, and nobody wants that. It's all about doing it for a long time, So I don't mind pulling back my craziness and just keeping it simple, and that's why I like being the bad guy as well, because I can be a good base. I know I'm a good base for other girls, so then I let them do the crazy stuff, and I make sure that we're safe while they do it. So I'm fine with that.
So, do you actually enjoy being a heel, or do you like being the cool heel? Because, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like heels today like want to get a pop as opposed to getting
I don't know. I probably would enjoy being the cool heel, but I'm not the cool heel. I'm the bitch heel that everyone hates, and it's just easy to do. So that's what I do. And I think I've been around for so long now. I think especially in Adelaide, I still just get respect anyway. It's like I say it as like the Kurt Angle thing when everyone says, you suck, but it's because we love him. I think I get that. Like, I come out and everyone boos me and they know that, like, they hate me, but then after the show, usually they'll come up and want to hug and get a photo, and they're like, and I don't usually go out after shows because I don't want to deal with all that. So I'm just not a people person. But but I think they all still like respect me. They know I've been around a long time, so they show me respect by booing me and going along with what it's meant to be, what the show's meant to be about, which is nice.
So what's your take on heels like after the show and seeing fans and not breaking kayfabe and staying in character?
Yeah.
And is that like just them being true to the character, or is that them just being a dick and using being a heel as a reason? You know what I mean? Like,
it's probably a bit of both. Like, yeah, usually if I'm a heel, I won't go out. And you know what? Even as a face, usually I won't go out because I just don't like interacting with people. And that sounds bad, but I'm just not a people person. I find it really awkward and uncomfortable. But as a face, I will go out, but I will leave it up to the promoter. If the promoter wants you to go out as a heel or a face, I'll do what they want, really.
Yeah.
But I think it's up to people. I am a bit more like about kayfabe and staying in character. And if you're a bad guy, don't go out and be nice to everyone after the show. But everyone's going to do their own thing, and I'm not going to judge you for it necessarily. But I think that's where the promoter should be like, listen, you're ill, don't go out there, and that's up to each company, I guess. So yeah.
But yeah, but I also think that that's changed now for a lot of it as well, because it's more like, hey, everyone's in on it.
That's it. I think wrestling is more open now in that sense that people understand how it's sort of done a bit more, and so they get that it's a character and it's not real. So I think that's why a lot of people go out either way. And I mean, it is, in a sense, it's good for selling merch and stuff. If it's not, I feel like it isn't fair for heels, if they can't go out, it's a bit unfair. Then they can't sell their merch, like when the faces can go out and sell their merch and that kind of thing. So I think in that it can be good like that. But I think still just keep it a bit subdued. Like, you don't have to be mega asshole to the kids, but just be a bit of a dick to the kids. You know what I mean? Why sell your merch?
Yeah. Just get their money, then flip them off.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
But I feel like while everyone sort of does know what it is, I kind of like the kayfabe sort of style of things to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But do you feel like now, because like as you said, the digital age and everyone sort of knows what's going on, do you feel like fans now like have more of a, I don't want to say like they try and give more of an insider perspective or opinion online or like in person or anything like that?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like it can get a bit ridiculous. Like, and you just get, I feel like the biggest thing for me is people that just feel like they know you. They just come up and they want to chat like they know you, or they send you messages online like they know you, and you're like, we don't know each other, man. I know, like, you have no idea who I am. So it can be a bit odd like that when they just talk to you like your friends, and you're like, okay, cool, buy my merch. It's
I cringe when I see like wrestling fans call a wrestler by their shoot name, and I'm just like, oh,
I know. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate that. Even if you know my name, like at a show, just keep it like it's use my wrestling name. That's, the kids don't know. Keep it fun for everyone. Don't ruin it. Like don't act like we're friends, or like if we are friends, like understand that
cool.
this is how it's meant to be. So just Savannah, that's good. But they think
yeah, I know, but I feel like you see it and it's just like so cringeworthy for a lot of cases. I'm just like, or when like fans are calling other fans marks, and I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
Oh no,
I
honey,
know.
no.
All you can do is laugh. That's it.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for them.
Oh, dude, like it's. But you know what? It's funny. Like even me, like I'm around a lot of wrestling shows and stuff like that. I just call people what they introduce me as themselves. If
Yeah.
it's at a show and I haven't been introduced to them, I'll just call them their gimmick name because I
Yeah.
don't know them like that. So if they
Yeah.
say, "Hey, actually, my name's such and such," all right, cool. You know what?
Cool. Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the crazy world of wrestling, though, isn't
Right? I know.
it? It's
I can't believe how long I've been in it now. It's like, you think by now I would be sick of it, but I still love it so much. It's definitely different to when I started, and the way I look at it now, and look at the fans, and just online has obviously changed huge. I don't even think there was online when I started. But I do still love it. It is still just, it's always going to be a piece of me, I think, for sure.
Yeah, the quirkiness is just the thing I love the most. Like I took a friend of mine to a show with his son and my son, and like I was working on the show, and on the way there, I'm like, "Hey, so like when you introduce people, this is how you shake hands at a wrestling show." And he's like, "Bro, I know how to say hi to people." I'm like, "No, wrestling's different, bro.
You don't
this,
know.
yeah, like this is how it is." He's like, he couldn't believe it. He's like, "Wow, you're right." Everyone was like, "Hello, hello," and I'm like, "Yeah, just that's how it's done." He's like, I said, if you did that, would have just went straight away. Who the fuck is this guy? So he's like, oh shit.
It's so awkward now as well after the pandemic, because some people just want to go back to like shaking, but then some people like, just fist pumps, and then others just are like, what are we doing? What are we? I don't know. And it's just weird.
Well, the weirdest one is when like one goes for a handshake and one goes for a hug, and then you're like,
Oh, yeah. And then you just sort of like, yep.
you're handshaking and doing this side
And you're
thing like
telling,
that.
yes, right. I think it just happens with everyone though, so we just need to accept that it's just the awkwardness of wrestling, and you just power through.
Yeah, that's it. There's no shame in it. You just go, all right, cool, whatever it
Yeah, it
is.
is what it is.
Yeah, there's no embarrassment here. So, but
Uh,
when's the next trip interstate for you as well?
the next one interstate, I think, will be FWA again.
November
So they
12th.
got a big show coming up. So I think I'll be on that one, but I mean, nothing's announced yet, so we'll wait and see for sure. But that's not for a while. So something might come up before then, but at the moment, I don't really have much in the works. I don't have anything for the rest of the month.
Really?
This whole month, yes, all of September, because right now we have the Royal Adelaide show, and so no one wants to have shows while the Royal Adelaide show's on, because everyone's spending their money elsewhere and going to that. So that was the weekend just gone, and this one coming, and then the following weekend I think is footy finals, I think. So no one wants to book over, footy finals, which is
Sure.
fair, because everyone's going to be watching that. Everyone's going to be doing stuff. So no one's doing anything there. And then I think there might be one more weekend, but whatever it is, I'm not booked on. If there is a show, I'm not sure. But yeah, all of September I have free, which is kind of nice because I have moved house probably over a month ago, but I still have not unpacked anything. And so this month is like, okay, get off your butt and get some of this stuff unpacked, because I'm sick of wearing the same 3 outfits over and over again. I'm sick of it. So I need to like unpack some stuff, really.
Do you try and do that every once in a while? Like take about a month off, like from bookings, and just sort of like chill out?
I would say I don't usually plan like time off, but it always sort of happens. You always end up like busy, 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 busy. And then all of a sudden you have like 3, 4 weekends off in a row, and you're like, oh, sweet. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to try to book anything. I'm just going to relax and actually take a little bit of time, which is nice. I think everyone needs a bit of time once in a while, just to let your body sort of recoup a little bit and chill and catch up on, other stuff like unpacking boxes, or just making wrestling gear, because I have so much wrestling gear I have to make, and I'm so far behind because everything's in boxes, and I'm like, So I got lots of other stuff to do. It's okay.
Are you making gear for yourself or other people?
Both. I'd love to say I'm doing stuff for myself right now, but I have so many orders backed up. I really am just got to focus on getting all of that done at the moment. So I think I have about 10, 12 orders that have just not been done. Like I haven't been able to touch anything for about 1 or 2 months because I was packing at my other place to move, and now I've moved in and everything's just in boxes, and I need to like sort everything out. And then it's like every weekend comes around and there's wrestling and there's, family stuff, and just there's never a free weekend to get things done. So yeah, and then even the weekend just gone was my first weekend free for ages, and then it was Father's Day, and I'm like, oh my god, I need this time.
Oh, I know. I know. It's funny how you said like you have like a lot of shows and then there's like nothing, and I've sort of just realized that I've had like a couple of weeks where I've like had a couple of busy weekends, and then it's like, oh shit, there's nothing for like 3 weekends, and it's like another 4 or 5 in a row, and it's like, holy shit, like, it just comes in like that.
Yep. I always notice when I have heaps of bookings coming up in a row, because I'm always like, all right, I've got, bookings for the next 6 weeks. I'm not going to have any time to do anything. But then as soon as I've got free time, I never realize until it's there. And then I'm like, oh, I've got all this free time. I should have planned things. I could have been getting things done. I could have actually gone and, done some social things with my friends. But it's just the way it goes. I think you're on it when you've got stuff on, and when there's nothing, you just forget about it, because it's probably nice just to sit and do nothing for a little while, to be fair.
Well, I was going to say, like wrestling, like most weekends would probably like kill most of your social life as well. Like
It
going
does.
out with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of it ends up just your wrestling are your friends. Your other wrestlers become your social gatherings in your social group, and I still have my other friends I get to see once in a while, but I'm lucky I have that group of friends that's like, if we don't see each other for 4 months, it's not, when we catch up, it's not like any time passed. It's good like that. They understand the wrestling life and having a full-time job. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where it's like you just got to roll with it and take it all in. But for yourself, when you're going now and wrestling for like a new promotion, do you still get nervous before you wrestle? Is that still a thing? Like, the nerves still kick in, or do you get anxious at all? Like,
no, absolutely I do. I think I'm one of the worst. A lot of girls always are like, why are you so nervous? You've been doing it the longest. And I'm like, I don't know. My body just hates me for doing this. I don't understand why I get so nervous, but I do. I feel like I probably don't get as bad as I used to get, because I used to get like where I would dry reach before like every match. That's how nervous I would get. And I haven't had that in a really long time. So like, that's good. I finally got past that. It only took about 10 years, I think. So but I still, like, even just my match I had at the last Right City show against Aisha, I was so nervous, and we've wrestled before, so I don't know why I was so nervous, but I was freaking out before the match. I'm just like, I'm not gonna be able to get through this. I was, but then it was great, and we went out there and had a great match. It was amazing. Everything went well. No one got hurt. I was loving life. That's what you want. You want the after feeling when it's done and it all went well, and you can just be happy and smile. But yeah, I was really freaking out beforehand. So I don't know. I just wanted it to be good, It was like a big RC dub show. It was a championship match. First time she had been over and worked for us. And I think all of that combined, and that we haven't been doing a lot of women's matches on the show. So I feel like I need to prove to the boys that it's still worth having the women's matches, like they're still good. And so it's a lot of pressure, and but I think we did good.
When did you stop freaking out? Like, were you freaking out when you were like making your entrance? Like
She went out first. I mean, we were back, like, in the gorilla position, and I was like basically hyperventilating, and then her music hit, she went out, and I was still, like you get dry mouth, you feel like you need to pee, and I was freaking out. But then I don't know, as soon as you go out there, you just gotta turn it on. Usually though, there's like a bit at the start, you know, when I'm doing my entrance where you can see in my face like just everything goes blank and you can tell like she's just pooing her pants. But but I'm fine. Once I get out there, I don't know, you got to do it. It's like you're out there now. It's happening. You can't disappoint everyone. You got to make it happen. You got to do it, and so you do. And yeah, and it's okay. And it was okay. I was happy.
Have you ever had anyone completely freeze up and you in the ring, like just be holy shit, deer in headlights?
Yes. I think a few times.
Yeah.
I think the funnest is when they just freak out and then they just stop and they just are like, what's happening? Like, what's next? And you just like, keep doing things. Don't just stop and talk to me. But it's okay. It's one of those
You just see
things.
someone like throwing like a flurry of punches, then go,
Yeah.
am I supposed to kick you next?
Yes, actual. I think
Drop kick.
I've had a couple where someone gets hurt or like winded or something and they stop because of that, and so then you kind of need to keep going, but you need to give them a second as well, so you've got to make it work and then make sure they kind of know where you're at and what's going on, and then you get the other ones that just they've just forgotten everything and they're just lost, and you just like, cool, well, I'm gonna hit you now and we'll figure it out.
I'm just gonna smack you in the mouth.
Just gonna keep hitting you till we figure out what's going on, and that's what you do.
Yeah, right. And it's interesting though, because it's like being in front of a crowd. I don't think there's anything that can really prepare someone for that, and to go out there and wrestle and to do that in front of people.
Yeah.
I can understand why some people would start getting freaked out and start freezing up in it though. Like just
I definitely don't hold anything against girls because like I said, I was freaking out just in my last match. So it's usually girls that are new and have only had a few matches, or and they're not used to it yet. And once you get out there, it does take quite a few matches before you just get comfortable with being in front of a crowd. I still remember back when I started, and you don't even notice the crowd when you are new. You are just so like in your head and thinking about wrestling and what you need to be doing, and still that goes out the window half the time. But you don't even notice the crowd. It takes, I reckon, a good half a dozen to a dozen matches before you even start realizing, oh, there's a crowd here I should interact with as well, because you just got to get into that being able to perform first, and then that it all sort of comes later. That's why it can be good. I mean, that's why like WWE is so lucky with their performance center, where they can have practice matches over and over and like get ready and be prepared for things like that, because it is a big shock. Even if you can train all the time and think you've got everything down, and then you get out there in front of a crowd and it's just like, shit, what the hell am I doing? And yeah, so I get it. I don't hold it against people, and usually it's a good story later. At the time you might be a bit frustrated that the match wasn't great, or they froze up and freaked out, and you know that it was just clumsy, but it's always a good story later on when you're like, oh, remember when this happened? And especially if they keep going and they get better and improve. Yeah. It's a good story to be like, oh my God, one of my first matches, this happened. And, all you can do is laugh about it. Yeah.
But like, do you find like, have you ever been in a match where you've gone out into the ring, you've had everything planned out, and then the crowd is reacting differently and you've had to change stuff on the fly?
Yes. Even my very first match I ever had, I remember I was a valet for ages and I was a heel. So my first match, I went out as a heel, but we got Sarah J from Melbourne. She's from Queensland now, but she was an interstater, but she came over as the face. But then everyone had been watching me for so long as a valet. They were just so excited to finally see me in the ring having a match that everyone just got behind me and I was getting cheered like crazy. So I just ended up, being the hero. But yeah, it does happen a lot, and it can be fun to wrestle with new people, especially when that can happen and they get to learn how to change things over and switch it up and work with what the crowd wants from you. And yeah, it's good. It's a good learning tool. Still for me as well. Like I go out and I'm like, oh, they're wanting something different. We better give them what they want. Or if you want them to stay in the match, you kind of have to give them what they want. If you try to just stick with what you're going to be like, no, this is what we've got, this is what we're doing, then they might just go silent. And then you just, it's just crickets. You're like, that's not fun for anyone. So you always got to work with what they want and how they're playing off you and yeah, go with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's performing to the audience really is the main thing is, and the main
Absolutely.
point is. So, but we are at that time of the show, the 60 seconds with Piers. How this is going to work, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone, is I'm going to ask Savannah Summers a bunch of questions. She's got 60 seconds to answer as many as she can within that time. Savannah, are you ready to get the game started?
Sure, but I'm sorry if my mind just goes blank because I feel like that's going to happen.
All right. We'll get it started. Starting now. Which board games do you always win at?
Scrutinize.
Which movie do you know all the words to?
A Little Darlings.
If you could wear only one color to the ring for the rest of your career, what color would it be?
Black, even though it's a shade, not a color.
What did you get in trouble for most as a child?
Fighting.
What was the name of your first car?
Corolla.
What
Toyota
language?
Corolla.
What languages do you speak besides English?
Bad English.
What is the last book you read?
Oh, The Secret.
Uber Eats or Menulog?
Uber Eats.
Biggest pet peeve?
People that don't know how to drive.
Shittest gift you've ever received?
A Barbie doll when I was 12.
What was your nickname growing up?
Anus or a-hole.
Oh, all right. Last one. If you were given $1 million to start a business, what business would it be?
Wrestling promotion.
Yeah, that's it. Savannah Summers, the millionaire, pumping in $1 million into Australian wrestling. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
I would, Savannah,
though. So would I. Savannah, this has been a really fun conversation. Thank you for joining me again. We got to do this again, but yeah, we got to do it again, but not not a year apart this time. But again, thank you for coming on. Where can everyone find you on social media and support you and get some merch?
You can find me on pretty much all the socials, Savannah Summers, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. Yeah, I think I've still got that. And then I think you can get my merchandise. I've got a Redbubble account, so if you go on any of my socials, there'll be a link and follow that, and you can get any merch you want.
There you go. Make sure you go and follow Savannah Summers on all social media. Go and get some merch. Also, make sure you follow me at Piers Austin on Twitter, at the Piers Austin on Instagram. Guys, make sure you tune in for our shows we got coming up this weekend. Keep up to date with all of upcoming interviews that I'll be doing on my social media. I've got more coming this week, so make sure you tune in. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Health Vape, for making this show possible. It's been a long day. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on healthvape.com. But until next week, take care, or later this week, take care. All the best. Peace.